My own shoes for school.
Shower gel, shampoo, maybe some toothpaste.
I wish we had blankets. It just gets really cold at night.
I love a bed for my mummy and daddy so they don't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
For millions of children and their families across the UK, all they're wishing for this Christmas are the bare essentials. But multi-banks are helping. They're like food banks, but for all the essentials. They're already making a huge impact, and with your help, we can support more families this Christmas. Please donate.
Opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg. Flanagan, 25 yards, lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
What do I want for Christmas?
I want my own private island.
I want a Mac pig, about this size. A drone. It goes zzz, and then it stops, and then my face will appear. Oh, the fastest rocket and the biggest rocket in the world for Christmas.
My own shoes for school.
Shower gel, shampoo, maybe some toothpaste.
I wish we had blankets. It just gets really cold at night.
I love a bed for my mummy and daddy, so they don't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
For millions of children and their families across the UK, all they're wishing for this Christmas are the bare essentials. But multi-banks are helping. They're like food banks, but for all the essentials. They're already making a huge impact, and with your help, we can support more families this Christmas. Please donate.
opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg. Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
What do I want for Christmas?
I want my own private island.
I want a Multibank, about this size. A drone. It goes zzz, and then it stops, and then my face will appear. I want the fastest rocket and the biggest rocket in the world for Christmas.
My own shoes for school.
Shower gel, shampoo, maybe some toothpaste.
I wish we had blankets. It just gets really cold at night.
I love a bed for my mummy and daddy, so they don't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
For millions of children and their families across the UK, all they're wishing for this Christmas are the bare essentials. But multi-banks are helping. They're like food banks, but for all the essentials. They're already making a huge impact, and with your help, we can support more families this Christmas. Please donate.
Good afternoon, everyone, from a very cold and wet and windy Stadium of Light here on Wearside. 12:30 kick-off between Sunderland and Stoke City. Danny is alongside me. He will also confirm that it's very wet and very windy, Danny.
Well, it is indeed, yeah, and we're getting it here as well in the main stand, which is probably 40-50 yards under the covers. But yeah, it's one of those afternoons, isn't it, where you've got to roll your sleeves up and do the ugly side of the game. I think, you know, come through the summer months, you know what that's all about, and then you're getting into these tough winter periods, games thick and fast, and obviously these conditions, 1 or 2 games obviously called off this afternoon. Yeah. This one isn't, but we get on with it, and hopefully we can get back to winning ways.
Is the old adage, can he do it on a cold Tuesday night in Stoke? Can he do it on a cold Saturday morning in Sunderland? And Stoke are going to be an opponent for Sunderland quite a lot in the next month.
They are, yeah, and yeah, funny you mentioned that, isn't it? It is a bit of a saying, isn't it? And Stoke players will be used to this. I know the corners, played there myself, obviously, after I left Sunderland, and the corners open at the ground. More often than not, it was breezy, and then you get that driving rain coming in as well.
But this is different here. It's not normally, it doesn't normally whip up inside the West Stand, does it?
Not as much as in here. No, it doesn't know at all, because it's obviously a sealed-in bowl, isn't it, really? But no, listen, the players come out before the game. They know what it's all about. They got up this morning thinking, do you know what, it's one of those mornings where, as I said today, you've got to roll your sleeves up, do the ugly side of the game. There'll be a few challenges. Trey Hume will be licking his lips in the changing room with the conditions out there.
I guess once you're wet, aren't you? You can't get any wetter.
Yeah, I think the wind, obviously, you know, as a former centre-back or defender, it can cause havoc really with balls up in the air.
We saw a bit that last night, didn't we?
Yeah, watching the Middlesbrough game, yeah. But yeah, try and get the ball down. It's not as bad, obviously, on the deck, is it? And try and get the ball down and zip it about as much as we can.
Let's give you the team news then here on SAFC Live. We're broadcasting around the world, of course, as we always do here on SAFC Live, and we'd love to have you along for the ride as well. Tell us where you're watching around the world this afternoon. And there's been a change. Obviously, we were expecting that one after the red card to Chris Mepham.
Yeah, obviously Chris picking up that red card was unfortunate, really, wasn't it? We got caught in possession, and unfortunately for Chris, he sits this one out. But yeah, Adji Elise coming back in, he's been in and around it the last few weeks and got some game time down at Bramall Lane, didn't he? So it's a change for Luke O'Nien. He'll shift back into centre half alongside Dan Ballard, I think, and then Adji Elise coming in on that left hand side. So yeah, you know, we're chopping and changing at the back, but we're generally not too bad. We're quite well stacked at the back at this moment in time, and obviously Dennis coming back in on the bench as well. It's good to see.
The bench is quite healthy, isn't it, in terms of positioning? You know, there's chances there. There was obviously, you know, we've been forced into changes in recent weeks, haven't we, really? Yeah. But, you know, that leads to opportunities in some cases.
Well, it does, yeah. Some of the 21s getting opportunities and on the bench in recent weeks. See Johnson on there as well. But, yeah, you're looking at the bench there. Conley's on there. You know, there's other lads in Kielder and O'Sheesh and 1 or 2 lads who are around it, who obviously, as we say, will be frustrated. Perhaps they haven't got as much game time as they would have liked. But yeah, you look at the bench there, and it's not a bad bench at this moment in time, because it has been a discussion in recent weeks, and you're looking at Leeds and Burnley and Sheffield United, if you want, and teams around us, and people keep saying they've got strength in depth. I think you're looking at us, we've got maybe a 13 or 14 who you class as good quality championship players, and other lads who are still trying to find their feet at this level. You know, prime example, Tommy Watson's back out there again this afternoon. So Tommy had a good outing at Bramall Lane last Friday night. Some good moments, obviously went on to win the penalty.
Well, let's look back through that game, Danny, because I think Sunderland were the better team in that game. Yes. And of course, everyone was frustrated to see the late goal by Tom Davies go in, but I thought Sunderland give a great account of themselves. Yeah,
but we keep on saying, don't we, how many times have we said in recent weeks, it's frustration is the key word, and it was a case of that again on Friday night. I think generally they started better than ourselves. You see it, early exchanges, they were getting the ball out wide, working it around us really, and looking for those openings. But then it sort of flipped, and they got a little bit loose on the ball, didn't they, and giving it away cheap far too often. You can hear the crowd getting restless, and here we go, now we're into it. And another day there, Isidore takes a nice little touch and he slots that past the goalkeeper. But it was quite an open game, it felt, you know. I think, as you said there, Frankie, we give as good as we got, and then we have the better opportunities. This one here is a great opportunity. You see there, we get 3 men free in the middle. It's the centre-backs really, isn't it? It's Ballard, well, O'Nien and Mepham. They're almost getting each other's way really, and it almost hits Luke and drops for the keeper. And here we go now, Tommy Watson driving forward. I think they give loose back, and it's the man getting back in there who actually who give the ball away there to win it back for his team. But yeah, Tommy looks like he's gaining in confidence, and that's coming from getting regular football now in the first team. I think it's all well and good for Tommy's point of view, being the main man in the 21s, but then once he steps up there, I'm guessing he's got a little bit of doubt because it's a step up. Of course it is, going into first team football, but how's he going to get through that? And it's by playing regular football and getting the backing of the manager and the players around him. And I think that showed in the first half. The only thing you could say which has let him down is he snatched at 1 or 2 opportunities, but I think, as I said there, that's coming from getting in and around the first team, and that'll come with him. And it is now a lovely build-up play between Isidore, Job and Tommy, all involved, little one-touch play, and then Robinson comes across it and brings him down. And
double jeopardy.
Yeah, no, listen, I've talked about this during the week, and I know what fans are saying, and yes, it's the law, but for me, you get away with one in this day and age there. It's not a guarantee you're going to tuck the penalty away, which is a prime example. Of course, it's a great opportunity, one-on-one with the keeper. But yeah, you know, for me, it should be a send-off. People saying, has he played the ball? Has he generally gone for it? Not really. I think Souttar alongside him is not getting back. I think Sheffield United fans have argued that Souttar's going to get back. He's not. He's flat-footed, and Tommy's got the run. Tommy's next touch is going to be a strike on goal. But listen, we got the penalty, and yeah, Patrick's reaction says it all. He's disappointed. He hasn't tucked it away. Fans have been saying, no, why is Patrick on penalties? Well, who took our last one? Patrick Roberts down at Plymouth, and he put it away. Nobody questioned it after the game. That's how football can go. But yeah, I thought Tommy was excellent first half, getting the better of Gilchrist again, and they actually changed it at half-time, didn't they? Gilchrist went in and played at centre-back, and Sariki came on at full-back, and Tommy found it a little bit more difficult to get the better. Sariki more physical, more athletic, and handled him quite well in that second half. But again, you see, I don't mind this. He's confident there. Just again, he's finished letting him down, but he's getting into good opportunities, into good areas for good opportunities. There's Souttar's first yellow, late one there on Isidore, which is, again, looking back at that clip there. And then it is, yeah, you know, Luke's got caught on the ball. We've not got ourselves in a great shape there. I think Dan Neal's almost 5 yards past Luke. Luke receives it. He hasn't got a pass on. We vacated that area in the middle of the park.
Right, I think that moment there, the left foot, when he chops back, suggests he's going to run away from goal.
Well, he is, yeah. He's taking his look, comes away from goal, then he's got to take another touch. By the time he's then adjusting and taking another touch, Dan Ballard's across. So I still stand by it. It's a yellow card for me. I think if the referee, listen, it's difficult for the ref. He hasn't got VAR. He hasn't got 4 or 5 replays.
What do you think VAR would have done in that situation?
Good one, isn't it? Maybe send him to his monitor to have a look and say, do you think Dan Ballard's getting across? Because then the forwards, it's almost knowing football as well, really, in a way, isn't it? Because Campbell, listen, if Campbell takes a touch and he knocks it past Chris Mepham towards goal, I haven't got an argument, it's a red card. But
Can't have any arguments about that one either.
Well, Souttar tried to argue it, didn't he? But no, he can't. I don't know. Yeah, he just gets caught, doesn't he? Again, comes in too tight, and it's good from Isidore. Just rolls him, and well, he's asking the question: Isidore for the ref? Is it a second yellow? Well, of course it is. And then we're down to 10v10, aren't we, for the second half? And they actually started okay. They had a couple of opportunities early on, Sheffield United, and then I felt again we had good control of the half for long periods of it. But just little loose passes and little loose balls like this invited Sheffield United back into the game, really, and to get a little bit of control of it. But yeah, it was an open game, a draw, possibly, you know, worst case from our point of view, a draw would have been a fair result. Yeah. As it was, we come away with nothing. You know, fans will say, well, we deserved all 3, and perhaps we did on the balance of playing opportunities in the first half alone.
And fans will point to the second half performances in the last 7 or 8 games, won't they, Danny?
Yeah, no, of course they will. Yeah, so yeah. Coventry here, 2-0 up half time, fantastic first half. Second half didn't come out, didn't really lay a glove on them, sat off and got caught. Same down at Millwall, really. I don't think we come out second half and got on the front foot, and it caught up with us late on in the second half. Sucker blow right at the death. So there's 4 points gone straight away. This one here, yeah, worst case we should have got a point from the game, possibly all 3, as you say. So we can look at it, and over the last 4 or 5 games, really, we're saying we should have been taking more points than we should have done. But you know, you go over the course of the season. I mentioned the whole game the other week. I thought we were fortunate to take 3 there, fortunate to get a point against Leeds, fortunate to get 3 at Luton. So there's, you know, it sort of balances itself out over the course of the season for me.
However, if Sunderland were to bounce back this week, because it's another big week, isn't it? Another 3-game week coming up. You know, you're right amongst it again. If we win today, we could go 3rd within a couple of points at the top.
Exactly that, Frankie. Yeah, it's not as if we've gone on a bad run there. We haven't won in, 6 or 7, and we're down in 12th all of a sudden. We're still 4th. Yeah. You know, last night's draw was a good result for us. 2 teams either side of us, really. And then if we turn up today and go out and get a good result, pick up 3 points, get back on the horse, so to speak, and then confidence is back in the boys. But even, you know, it's form and results are a different thing, really. Sometimes, you know, people say, look at the form table. Well, results you can be picking up good results but not playing well. But at this moment in time, we're having good halves or good periods in a game, aren't we, where we're having good 30 minutes in games and we're not quite getting the results, and obviously teams are taking advantage of that when we're not on top, and here it is now, isn't it, right at the end of the game really, where Tom Davies is off again. It's not a well-worked goal as such, is it? It's scruffy. Adji's unfortunate, gets the ball stuck under his feet, it pops out, touch out of his feet there, and it's a good strike. I've heard a few people questioning Anthony Patterson. Not for me. It's slow down there. He's what, 7 yards away from him. It's a decent strike, and it's almost between his foot and then having to try and get down low with his right hand, isn't it? It's a difficult one, and it's no, from his point of view, it's a good strike, and that's the difference on the night, isn't it? So yeah, the lads would have been getting back on the bus again, and they're saying, do you know what, boys? And I'm sure Regis is saying this. They've just gone top of the table, and they're no better than us. And I'd have to agree, and I'm sure the Sunderland fans do.
Yeah, I agree as well, Danny. I thought, what is the missing ingredient there then? What's been missing the last 6 or 7 games?
It's the top end of the pitch, isn't it? Goals. Creating opportunity. I think we are creating stuff as well. You see that one there, 3-4 good opportunities in the first half, and it's putting the ball in the back of the net. You look at what is the so-called front 5 this afternoon. Isidore's got 5. Patrick's only got the 1 from the penalty spot. Tommy's yet to open his account. Joe's got 2. Chrissy Riggs got 3. So we need to be getting more goals. I think at this stage last year, Joe perhaps had around 8 or 9 goals, I'm going to say. Obviously, Chrissy Riggs, his first real season for us. He's chipped in early on. But you shouldn't be relying on Chris, who's 17, trying to find his feet in the game. Tommy, although I'm saying that, Tommy's in a position higher up, and we see him time and time again scoring goals freely for the 21s. And I'm sure once he gets his first one, he'll feel like a little bit of a weight off his shoulders and he'll grow in confidence. But Patrick's the big one on the right hand side. Patrick's now, what is he, 20? I think Patrick's 27.
Yep.
He's a seasoned pro.
He should be in his prime right now.
Yeah, he should be. And he doesn't need us to sit here, his teammates, the fans, to tell him.
Well, we know he's got the quality.
Yeah.
He turns it on. When he does, he's as good as anyone in the league.
Yeah, but it's turning those little mazy runs, and it's good picking the ball up on the halfway line and going past 1 or 2 players. But we need him to deliver in the final third, whether it's assists, more assists, and certainly more goals for a player of Patrick's ability to only have 1 goal from the penalty spot this season. It's not good enough, and Patrick knows that. But yeah, he's got to try and turn that around as soon as he can for the good of the team.
Okay then, guys, we're going to go to our ad break, and then when we return, we'll be joined by club historian Rob Mason for a wider perspective on this fixture. We'll see you soon. Remember, you can get your Matchday stream passes right now at safc.com.
Lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
it's all in the detail.
I want for Christmas?
I want my own private island.
I want a Mac pig, about this size. A drone. It goes zzz, and then it stops, and then my face will appear. I want the fastest rocket and the biggest rocket in the world for Christmas.
My own shoes for school.
Shower gel, shampoo, maybe some toothpaste.
I wish we had blankets. It just gets really cold at night.
I love a bed for my mummy and daddy, so they don't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
For millions of children and their families across the UK, all they're wishing for this Christmas are the bare essentials. But multi-banks are helping. They're like food banks, but for all the essentials. They're already making a huge impact, and with your help, we can support more families this Christmas. Please donate.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're here at the Stadium of Light. We are dressed appropriately for the weather. We hope the fans joining us in the stadium this afternoon will be too, because it is a cold one here on Wearside. It's wet, it's windy, but there's a 12:30 kickoff, and it's Sunderland versus Stoke City. We're joined now by club historian Rob Mason, as well as Danny Collins. Of course, we're broadcasting around the world, and we are showing the world this afternoon that it's wet on Wearside.
Well, look, it's wet and windy on Wearside. Hopefully we'll continue the W's and there'll be a win,
yes,
to go with the wet and the wind.
Let's give everyone the team news then, if you are just joining us here on SAFC Live. So Danny, you can take us through the Sunderland team, please.
Yeah, just that one change. It's a forced one, really, isn't it, with Chris Mepham serving his suspension. Adji Elise, as we mentioned there, coming back in, and we think it'll obviously be a shift for Luke O'Nien coming back in there alongside Dan Ballard at centre-back. You know, Luke, I think in the last 3 games has played 3 different positions. He's had a stint at full-backs on both sides, but I think he'll be in there, as we said, alongside Dan Ballard this afternoon, Adji on that left, and as we were ahead of them, that front 6 really, with Dan Neil just in behind Job and Chrissy Rigg.
Let's have a look at Stoke City for the first time this afternoon. We're going to get used to these boys. We're playing them 3 times in the space of just over a month, I think it is. They've made a few changes themselves, Danny.
3 changes this afternoon, yeah. They're trying to get going, aren't they, Stoke? I was just having a look, actually, when they came down in 2018, 6 seasons, they haven't finished higher than 14th. Where they sat in the league at this moment in time, 14th. 16th, 17th finishes, so they can't get going. They've got through how many managers, I don't know. Something Rob, I'm sure, will tell us in a moment or two. But yeah, they just can't get going again in the Championship for some reason.
They spent money, though, haven't they?
Yeah,
let's speak about Stoke City a little bit more broadly then, because the Coates family, of course, have been at the helm for a number of years, probably when you were as well there, Danny. And they've spent money. Gary Rowett spent a lot of money, didn't he? It didn't work. They've had loads of managers. Alex Neil, you know, they had Michael O'Neill as well. Nathan Jones went in there. And now they're going for an unproven young Spaniard as well, aren't they, at the moment? What's going on there, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think over the years we've talked a lot at Sunderland about too much change. Managers changing too regularly and never really getting going. At Stoke, that's certainly been the same case. They've reinvented the wheel constantly. As you say, they've spent quite a lot of money over the years. As Danny's just pointed out, they've hovered around since relegation in the lower part of mid-table, and they're constantly wanting to suddenly find the magic formula that will propel them up to at least being playoff contenders. And at the moment, you know, they're still trying to find that particular formula, and they might do so. You know, they've got some good players. They're just looking for the formation. They're just looking for that team to click. Hopefully it won't do for them this afternoon, and indeed won't do them over the next month, because as you say, we've got them away from home later this month, and then of course we've drawn them in the FA Cup as well in the 3rd round, a game to look forward to. But at the moment it's all about, can we get ourselves back into the winning ways, because I think we've been playing quite well recently. The results haven't told, you know, 5 draws followed by that defeat at Sheffield United, and I was very, very impressed with how we played.
You were down there, weren't you?
I was down at Bramall Lane. I thought before the game it might be the hardest game of the season, might be really, really tough for us, and I thought we really took them on and showed that we were excellent. And all the word from the people at Sheffield afterwards was they all felt, everybody I spoke to felt that comfortably Sunderland had been the best team to visit Bramall Lane so far this season.
And you could see that.
But we didn't get the result. We've got to get the result.
Exactly, and you could see that in the reaction to the winning goal, couldn't you, Danny? There was a bit of relief in the crowd there, wasn't
massive,
there?
yeah, you could hear the crowd getting on. We said first half they were getting restless, they kept giving the ball back to us time and time again. We were pressing them really well. and you could just hear it in the ground. Yeah, and then a few niggly decisions as well. They felt in the ground everything was going against them. You could hear that when we were obviously doing the commentary. And as you say, relief later on, Tom Davies off the bench pops up with the winner for them. So they would have been delighted. And as you said, Rob, probably their toughest test so far. So gauging so far then, Rob, we've 18 games we played, so we've faced 18 opponents. Who would you say has been the best opponent we've faced?
Middlesbrough.
Right.
I watched Middlesbrough at Burnley last night again. When Middlesbrough came here, they popped the ball around really, really well. They moved it, their passing moved, their style was excellent. But at the time they couldn't score, and we did really, really well in that game and beat them, and I think deservedly beat them. But I went away seriously impressed with Middlesbrough. And then they've
come good now, haven't they?
They've come good, they've started scoring a ridiculous number of goals. They had a big, tough test away to Burnley last night, and if you see Middlesbrough's goal, and you see it from the beginning, it was rather like our goal Jack Clark scored down at Reading, was it, a couple of years ago? Where they've played out really, really tight positions in their own final third, worked it across the pitch, came down, scored what for me is the best team goal I've seen at any level this season. And that encapsulated how well they were playing. So I think Middlesbrough is a team that have really caught my eye. Obviously there's the obvious contenders of Leeds, Burnley,
I said Leeds here for
Sheffield
half an hour
United.
in that first half.
Leeds were excellent. But although everybody talks about our luck with the goalkeeping error at the last minute, let's not forget Leeds' first goal was offside and the second goal came from a free kick that was never a free kick. We should have defended it because the free kick to be fair was the other end of the pitch.
It wasn't a direct one.
But they had their luck as well. Yes, I was very impressed with Leeds. Yes, I expect Leeds to be probably top 2, certainly top 4 come the end of the season. But in direct answer as to who's the best team I've seen this season against Sunderland,
Middlesbrough.
For me, Middlesbrough.
You happy with those selections?
Yeah, no, I go with them. Certainly, I just think Leeds for the first 10 minutes we were excellent, and then we scored that goal, and for some reason we sat off. But then they penned us in, and they were excellent. They should have scored a couple. I know that Rob said yes, it probably was fractionally offside, but they were knocking on the door. We couldn't get going. And then second half, they scored early, didn't they? And then sat off us, and it was and we had all the ball then. So probably a draw was probably a fair result. But I just thought Leeds for that half an hour. And as you said, Middlesbrough, good structure, well set up, and that's obviously showing now the amount of goals they're scoring as well.
Let's talk about a historical element between ourselves and Stoke City, a very old club, Stoke City, aren't they?
Absolutely, I mean, we first played Stoke way back in the early 1890s. In fact, when Sunderland got into the league, if you really want to go back to the foggy mists of time, Danny, when Sunderland first got into the league in 1890, we were the first team to join after the 12 founder members, and it was Stoke that we replaced because Stoke were in financial difficulties and they finished bottom. And then Stoke came back into the league and we first played them 1891-92. So yes, it's a very, very long history of games against Stoke. Obviously, over the years, we've had a lot of people who've managed both clubs or been big players at one club and come and manage the other, and a lot of players, of course, including the gentleman sat to my right, a long list of good players, right the way down the ages, not just in recent years, but right the way down the ages, a lot of players who've played for both clubs, so a lot tying the clubs in together in terms of their history, and of course the small matter of them both normally wearing red and white.
I was going to say, Daddy, did you only want to play in red and white, or what was the issue there?
Just kept the shirt, didn't I? Carried on. No, it was good, obviously, at my time here, and then it was 2009 I moved down there. I think they come up the season before, so they had one season in the Premier League, stayed up. Just a well-organised club under Tony Pulis, taking a lot of big scalps.
That was a classic Premier League side under Tony Pulis you were involved with.
Obviously Dean Whitehead went down there with us. Liam Lawrence was there. I think Kevin come as well down there. So there was a sort of cluster of us.
Tommy Sorensen, was Tommy there?
Tommy was the goalie. I didn't play with Tommy here, did I? But Tommy was already down there.
You didn't play with Tommy Sorensen here, but you did at Stoke City.
Tommy down there. So a lot of familiar faces, and we had a couple of good seasons, sort of mid-table finishes. A cup final against City, we lost the final 1-0. So it was a good sort of solid setup under Tony, and then obviously I moved on after that. It was a good club.
Okay then. We are in the midst of a storm Dara, I think it's called. Yes, here in the UK at the moment. We're broadcasting around the world, of course, and you can see it's having an effect on our production this afternoon. You can hear the wind whistling down our microphones as well. Normally we're pitch side as well, guys, but we've come up here to try and get a bit of warmth and shelter. It's not really worked out, has it? Let's be honest. There's guys behind the scenes here holding everything down as best as they can. We're still on for the 12:30 kickoff, but this weather has played its part in the fixtures this afternoon. There's a couple of cancellations, isn't there, already, including the big Merseyside derby. So, I mean, in terms of being a footballer, though, Danny, how do you adapt to a game in this kind of conditions?
I was chatting with Rob down in the media lounge before, and someone said, conditions, but I actually preferred maybe not as much wind, but playing it in the rain. I wasn't a big fan of playing in the sun. It just got dry, you know, quite quick, and I didn't enjoy the sun as much, whereas a bit of overcast and a bit of rain, but perhaps not an absolute typhoon behind you, was it? What's it helping like?
We should bring Howard Gale back this afternoon.
Hey, what's the worst conditions you can remember at a football match?
The worst conditions I can remember at a football match would be my 12th birthday.
12th birthday, right, okay.
At Roker Park, but it wasn't Sunderland, it was England versus Scotland under 23s with Colin Todd of Sunderland playing for England and lots of big name players. And it was snowing like mad and it was abandoned after an hour.
Right.
But yeah, that, and I remember a game that was abandoned at half-time against Liverpool at Roker Park.
Yes.
Really, really, really bad weather. But look, as long as the game's on and we complete the 90 minutes and hopefully we come away with 3 points, you know, when we're all dried out, we'll not care less what the weather's been like.
We had that one here against Fulham as well, didn't we? We were 1-0 down, weren't we? Half an hour in or something,
yeah,
and we got called off.
And that's actually, to date, the only Premier League game anywhere in history that's been abandoned because of the weather. The other Premier League abandonment, the other Premier League abandonments have been through floodlight failure. Right. So that game with Fulham is the only one to be
abandoned.
I remember Mike Riley was the referee.
Was he?
And he got in touch later and said, "Has anybody got a picture of the game with the snow?"
Yeah.
And I got a picture, and he refereed us somewhere, I can't remember, Wigan or somewhere in Lancashire later in the season. And I remember, or the following season. And I gave him a picture of the game with him on it and the snow coming down. He was over the moon, but he had no option but to call that game off. And the thing is, that was the season where we didn't win a home game all season.
And then we beat them,
and then in the
rearranged
game, which was technically the 20th game of the season, we finally beat Fulham. We were losing 1-0, so that abandonment actually stopped us probably from being the only team in history in the Premier League not to win a home game.
Wow, that's some good stats. Let's have another look at the Sunderland team this afternoon then, if we can. These are the lads which will take on Stoke for the first time with 3 encounters we'll see over the next month or so against Stoke City. And we can see that change, Danny, on the left-hand side of defence. Adji Elise, who had a brilliant start to the season. He's featured in games in the last couple of weeks, and now he comes in as a natural replacement for Chris Mepham. Sees Luke O'Nien going back to centre-half.
Yeah, and it's going to be like that, I think, over the next few weeks. Obviously, you know, lads have had suspensions as well. You know, Chris is serving one today, as we mentioned there. Dan Ballard's had injury problems. Dennis has had injury problems. But, as I said, that one department where we are quite well stacked is the defensive unit for me. Top end of the pitch, where we're a little bit lighter, maybe middle of the park, really, so we don't need to be losing them. We've got Chris Riggs still on 4 yellow cards, I think, haven't we? Has that changed yet? Is it 10 cards after today?
No, I think we've
longer,
got Rigg and Job on 4 yellows today. And if they get booked today, they miss Tuesday night. If they don't get booked today, then that's the cut-off period. And I think you've got till March when it kicks in again. If you've got 10 yellows, I think Trey Hume might have 6 or something at the moment. So he could get another suspension, which will be 2 games if he's picked up 10 by March. But as long as Rigg and Job don't get booked today, they're available for Tuesday. If they do get booked today, I believe they miss Tuesday.
And Chris Mepham's on 4 yellows as well.
Yeah, he is. But because if they'd appealed and got it reduced to a yellow, he would have been suspended because that would have been his 5th yellow card, so he'd have missed the day anyway.
But he would have wiped his yellows off anyway. So just leave it as is.
Interesting stuff. Thanks, guys, for your company. Danny, you're sticking around for the game. Bob, you're going to hide at the back of the West Stand.
I will do, where it's hopefully a bit drier.
Someone's got some cheeky radiators up there, that's what I heard anyway. Okay, then, you can still get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com, so go and get them right now. 12:30 kickoff, not long to wait here on Weir Side. You're watching SAFC Live, broadcasting around the world. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SAFC Live. We're broadcasting around the world here in a very wet stadium of light. There's a wind and a rain swirling around inside this stadium, which I can't really explain unless you're experiencing it, Danny. But you've played in some pretty bad weather here, and it's pretty much as bad as it can get, really.
Yeah, oh yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, I'd say it's not just the rain, driving rain, is it? It's the swirling wind as well inside the stadium. And as we said earlier, when it's a ball as it is the ground and the corners aren't open, it generally doesn't go one way or the other. It just swirls round. So listen, it's going to be difficult for the players. Certainly those lads at the back, they've got to be switched on and focused. The ball's in the air. But yeah, generally, if we can get the ball down and try and play a little bit more, obviously the wind won't have as much of an impact on the floor.
We just want to say goodbye to everyone watching on YouTube, Danny. Thanks for your company. Of course, you can still get your matchday streaming passes right now at sfc.com.